Slay the Spire 2 is coming out March 5th in early access. I'm gonna break down literally everything relevant that we know so far. It's basically the sequel to one of the most popular roguelike deck builders ever made. If you haven't played the first one, it's this game where you climb a tower, fight enemies by playing cards, and each run is different because the cards, enemies and paths you take are random. What makes it interesting is that you're constantly making tough choices about which cards to add to your deck, which relics to take, and which paths to risk. The second game takes all of that and adds a bunch of new stuff while keeping what worked. First off, there are 5 characters total. 3 are returning from the first game: Ironclad, Silent and Defect. Then there are 2 new ones called the Necrobinder and the Regent. The Necrobinder is this undead mage who uses a giant reanimated hand named Osti to fight for her. Osti can take damage instead of you and also attack enemies on his own, and you can summon him back when he dies. She also has this mechanic called Doom, which basically kills enemies when a Doom counter reaches their health. The Regent is this alien royalty character who sits on a throne carried by little minions. He uses a resource called stars alongside energy. He can also summon those minions to fight for him, and he has this weapon called the Sovereign Blade that you create with cards that have the Forge keyword. Each time you forge it, it gets stronger. Now for the actual new mechanics. Cards can get enchantments, which are positive modifiers that stick around for the whole run. They show up in purple text on a card. Some are small bonuses, others can completely change how your run plays out. Enemies can also afflict your cards with negative effects, also shown in purple. One example makes you lose an energy when you play that card, which seems to really hurt. There are also quest cards now. These are rare cards that give you specific tasks to complete for big rewards. One example we have seen is hatching an egg at a rest site, so you can get a companion that helps you for the rest of the run. The map system got changed up. Instead of just Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, there are now alternate versions. Act 1A is the overgrowth with plant enemies and woodland creatures. Act 1B is the underdogs, with mutant sea creatures and sewer stuff. These are randomly chosen when you enter an act, and Acts 2 and 3 will get the alternate versions later. During early access, they replaced Niao's blessing with something called Ancients. These are powerful beings you meet at the start of each act, who give you game-changing blessings. Niao is still there at the beginning, but Acts 2 and 3 have their own pool of different Ancients. The big new feature is co-op. You can play with up to 4 people total. Each player gets their own card rewards, and there are multiplayer-specific cards and team effects. Co-op has its own separate ascension system from solo play. For shared rewards, the game uses the unlock pool from whoever has the most stuff unlocked. Enemy health and some mechanics scale with player count. The developers said they're focusing on balancing single player first, but they're not ignoring multiplayer either. The game has of course new relics, potions, enemies and events. The events got fancy new animations and visual effects of course. The whole game simply looks more polished than the first one, with better animations and particle effects, though it does keep the same general art style. One thing to note is that this is early access. They are planning to stay in early access for 1 to 2 years, based on how long the first game took. They will be adding more content during that time. That means more cards, events, enemies, the alternate acts for 2 and 3, eventually a true ending, and of course balancing fixes. The price will, according to them, likely go up when it fully releases. No microtransactions ever. They have confirmed that. The game is built in a new engine called Godot, instead of whatever they used before. This means mods from the first game won't work, but they are at the same time making modding easier overall, and adding Steam Workshop support. Their developers have been pretty open about everything through their monthly newsletter, which they will keep doing during early access. It launches on Steam first for PC, Mac and Linux, with console versions coming later after early access. And this sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.